Welcome, Women of Discovery, to Girl Talk. And we would just like to collectively say, we miss you! Like we really miss you. And I'm sure that you miss each other as well. So we just wanted to do something that could bring us together. And we're going to bring us together every Tuesday. And you will be able to find this Girl Talk on Facebook or on YouTube.
So in order to find us on Facebook, though, ladies, you want to join the Discovery Women Facebook group. So look up DC Women and you'll find us there.
Very good. That's super important to know where to find us. So, and if you can't, you can always email one of us and we will be able to help you. But we want to let you know what we're going to discuss today. We want to talk about what God is teaching us in the weekend message. And then we also want to be able to show you how to get connected and stay connected during this very unique time we find ourselves living in. And then we're going to highlight a woman from each campus every week, or at least one from one of our campus every week, so that you can hear their story and what they're learning through the weekend message and how God is applying that to their life right now. The other thing we're going to share every week is a need of the week. So for those of you who are wanting to, and we've had a lot of women say, what can we do? Like tangibly do that could make a difference in our community, or good ideas for our neighbors where we don't touch them, but yet we, emotionally touch them. We're going to talk about some really cool ideas for that. And tonight we have a very special group that we're going to feature. And then we want to laugh a little. And so it's good to have a good sense of humor during this time. These girls have even brought up they would like to play a game.
Yes, she's
Absolutely.
a tease.
And you know what? Prizes. It's really important. I'm all about prizes.
Okay, so we're going to play games, and Karen is going to send prizes.
Yes.
Literally, they've talked about this.
Yes.
Send prizes to your home. So we're going to figure out something to do interactive that we can just have fun with as women. So tune in every Tuesday or at your leisure when we post these on YouTube and Facebook. But before we jump into what we're going to discuss, I want us all to just introduce ourselves, because some of you may not know what each of us do or what campus we belong to. And then I get to introduce the newest member of Discovery staff that is on our women's ministry team. So let's do that.
All right. Karen. Well, hello, ladies. My name is Karen Begley, and I get the honor and privilege of leading the women over at our Alafaya campus. So hello, Alafaya ladies. I love you, and I'm glad you're here tonight with us.
And I'm Sharon Lordell, and I get the privilege of actually supporting all the campuses administratively. I get to help women, these ladies specifically, kind of be able to implement the things that they're wanting to do. And right now I'm also helping with the leadership over at Winter Garden, kind of at interim time.
Yes. And my name is Tammy Ward, and I am the pastor of women's ministry here at Discovery at all three of our campuses. And then I also get to lean in with the women of Winter Garden, and that is new that we get to do that. So we're thrilled about that, because we actually now have a director of women's ministry for the Sand Lake campus. And her name is Dawn Marie Pearson, and her skill set is deep and wide, and her official title will be Women's Coordinator. They've changed some language, but she is going to be the leader of the Sand Lake campus, and she not only can lead and teach, her heart for women is beautiful. And so I want you to know that we are really looking forward to you getting to know her and her getting to know you. And I believe she's going to be a blessing to all of our campuses because her skill set is writing curriculum. And then she also does retreat planning and of inner healing and all the soul work that we all need. And gosh, I wrote down several things and now I'm at a loss. She's a therapist. She is a tender of souls. And I just want you to get to hear her heart a little bit. So, Dawn Marie, without further ado, if you will, I need hand sanitizer. Sorry about that. Will you share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Tammy. I really am privileged and honored to serve as the leader of the women's ministry at Sand Lake. I have already had the opportunity to meet some of you sweet ladies, And I am so excited to get to know all of you and for us to co-labor together for our sweet Jesus and to really see what he has in store for our Sand Lake campus as well as Discovery on a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I'm super excited because Dawn Marie is new to me too, and we're getting to know one another, and we're finding out so many things that we just have in common already, so I love it. But could you share a little bit with all of us where you're from and how long have you been here at Discovery?
So I am from Barbados,
Okay.
born and raised
Nice.
in the islands. Yes, and
That's our next retreat,
would-
people.
but every summer we would come to Florida, to Orlando, and we would attend Discovery. And so our relationship with Discovery started years and years ago.
That's awesome.
And then as we relocated here, Discovery just naturally became our home.
Right.
And we're so excited that we've had you. Tell us a little bit about your family.
So my hubby is Elector. He is one of those characters that once you meet him, you will not forget him. And yes, he is a life coach and just wears many hats. And then we have 4 sons who we've homeschooled, and they are now 21, 19, 18. I have to stop and think to remember all the ages. And 13. So our youngest is still being homeschooled, and ironically, I just plugged him into a homeschool academy where he goes 2 days a week, and then they're like, well, we're sending all the kids back home. So yeah, but we homeschool, and that's my family in a nutshell.
Sweet.
I can't say we homeschool because the older 3 are no longer homeschooled.
Yeah, they will be glad to
Yes,
have you say that.
but
That's
the
good.
youngest, yeah.
Well, we are so thrilled to have you. You're an answer to prayer. You guys do not lose me at the Sand Lake campus, or really any campus. Sorry, I'm here to say. But
Just in addition.
yeah, it's an addition. So she will be leading Sand Lake, just like Karen leads Alafaya, and then we're going to lean into Winter Garden. So we just wanted to let you guys know what we do, and we're honored to do life with you guys. So let's just answer a few key questions that we keep having emailed or text or asked to us. So here they are. First of all, how are we doing groups? So we want to answer that. Miss Karen.
Well, I'm so glad you asked. So what we are doing, it's pretty obvious. We're going online, which is exciting. We are all going to go online. So if you have been in a group already and you have curriculum that you have been doing, hopefully you've already been contacted by your group leader because your group is turning online and continuing. So we say absolutely keep going, keep meeting with one another. It's going to be actually fantastic. The perks of it is, ladies, we can show up in our yoga pants.
Yes.
That's nice. For you ladies who have not been in a group before, or your group had come to an end and you were about to start a new group, we are really excited because we're going to be switching all of our groups now onward to message-based groups, and we're asking you, go ahead and sign up for groups. Come join us. We're going to be having them online. You'll have a group that you get to be part of so that you don't have to do isolation.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that.
Very
Yeah.
excited about that.
And I was just going to say, I'm just going to jump in. I'm just
Yeah.
going to just transition right in
Yes.
because I know you're trying to figure out, well, how do you do that? So I'm going to help you out with that. Our heart is that you would, with the social distancing, that you would not be isolated. And so we would love for you to join a group if you haven't already. And so the desire for us is by this weekend to have PCO up and running with some new groups that you could join. So we will send out a link, but you will find it on the church website, and you can find all of those different groups that meet it, hopefully at the time that would work for you. And so really, that's our heart, is that you would be able to find a group that you can connect with.
Yep, absolutely. And then the next thing is, what will a message-based group consist of?
Right. So we have the opportunity now to have more message-based groups. So as we watch and tune in and connect with the message on Sundays, and we listen with our families, we then have the opportunity to receive a 5-day devotional that will allow us to dive more deeply into the message, and every day to really be thinking about and meditating on, and also putting into practice a lot of what we are hearing and learning on Sundays. And that will then also prepare us for our group time, our online group, our message-based group, where we then come together and have our discussion groups and share together, dive more deeply with each other as a group. So we have our message on Sundays, our 5-day devotions that we're diving deeply, and then we're gathering with our groups. And with our groups, we're again then having the opportunity to iron sharpen iron,
Yes.
hearing from each other
Yeah.
how the message has been impacting us, and the opportunity to fellowship in this dynamic new way.
Yeah. And you will still get the questions from Ben and Dawn. So those questions that you have found online, if you do this already in Message Bake, you just are going to get a supplemental daily devotional that you can do. And so for gals thinking, well, my group is on Wednesday, that's only 3 days. No worries. You're just going to share from the questions that you're going to get, and then you can share up until what you have studied and been able to partake in, and then you can finish it for the rest of the week. So anytime your group is in the week, don't sweat it. You get to stay in God's Word on a daily basis, but then come together and answer questions that Ben and Dawn will send.
And I think it's also important to just point out the fact that the digital format we'll be using is a variation of things. Most of us are going to be using Skype, but
Yes.
if some are already meeting and using Zoom or
Google Hangout.
something, that's totally fine. But if you need help
Yeah.
with how to get connected and it just sounds daunting, don't shy away from being connected.
Right.
Right.
Contact us, email us, and we will help you. We will figure this out
Yes.
together. Let's not use technology as an excuse to not be together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so great.
And we're taking on Skype. That's going to be our mode, but again, if you've got questions and need help, we literally will not only train you, we'll practice with
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
So,
I
or
am
Sharon will.
techie is not my thing, and I have figured it out, ladies.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
doable. If I can do it, I'm kind of like Dawn. If Dawn can do it, we can all do it. If I can do it, women, we can do it.
Yes.
I'm
I
right there
promise.
with them.
Yeah.
And Sharon can do it all. So
Yeah.
anyways, we've got you covered. Well, the last question we want to answer is, how can I help? There are so many needs out there, and right now we can't actually go somewhere and do something. So we're going to feature something we can do to help. And John Parrott actually was talking with us before this and shared with us a really unique way that we can help children. Because right now we have children at Arnold Palmer and at Nemours that they're isolated. So there is a group that they are getting together and they're buying walkie-talkies, which I think is the cutest
That's
thing,
fun.
so that these kids can talk to each other, or some can't even see their parents. They're also buying toys that can only be purchased online, like from Amazon, Walmart, Target, that you can then ship there. So it's not something, a toy from your home where we could used to do that. No, it has to ship from a store to them. Jonathan, our producer, he's going to be putting up a sheet for you or a number that you can call and find out more about that. That if you want to get involved and have your kids do this, it would just be a blessing to these kiddos that are by themselves right now, which you can only imagine how difficult that must be for them. So yeah, we're excited to get involved with that. All right, so we want to end with just talking about what is God saying. And through the message, Don gave an amazing message this last Sunday, and we're going to share with you what we took away from it, but really, we want Girl Talk to be about what you take away from it. So from now on, we're wanting you to send us, stories of what God has spoken to your heart. And then not just what he's talking to you about, what are you doing about it? And then we want to feature one of you each week so that women a lot of times you can borrow courage from another woman and borrow faith from someone else and go, I could do that. I could do that right now. So, but for today, because this is our first one, I want you to hear from each one of the ladies here of what God is saying to them. So we'll start with Miss Karen.
All right. Well, hello, ladies, again. So here's the reality. Overnight, I became a homeschooler to 3. Overnight, we have become more isolated at home instead of being out and about. And if you have a personality like mine that is constantly going all over, extroverted, it's not necessarily easy to be home. For some people, this is a beautiful time. For someone like me, this is a bit harder. So I want to especially share what I've gone through, because I want to talk to you moms who all of a sudden have a little one at home who's missing school, missing their buddies, because I still have a 10-year-old at home who's sad and who's missing his routine. And what I realized is vital for me right now is to remain grounded in the truth. It is so easy to look forward and get overwhelmed at the thought of, whoa, how are we going to do this for months or weeks? We don't even know if it's months or weeks. So
Right.
what's the point of thinking that
Yes.
way?
That's a
So
good point.
I'm really, really focusing on staying grounded in the truth. And that means that I am making sure that throughout my day, I try to be balanced. As much time as I spend being news informed, and I do check at least 5 sources a day. I do like to be well informed.
Yes, she
I
does.
also make sure that I am in the main source, which is the Bible. So I do make sure that I'm being intentional, being grounded in the Word. I'm also making sure I'm being grounded in the atmosphere of what is happening around me. So it's not just the chaos of the kids, because reality is it is chaos, but it's okay. That I'm also having worship music on. So the way that I'm really walking away or trying to walk steadily in this and consistently in this is being grounded in the truth, which is for me mainly the Word, to make sure that I am spending time reading it and not just talking about it, but actually taking it in, soaking it in. And then being grounded by having worship music on,
Yeah.
maybe some podcasts, some teachings, something other than just craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
So that's
And I
really what I'm
love
working
that
on.
she had shared this earlier, that you're making sure that if you're 2 hours on watching TV, that she's 2 hours either in the Word or with worship music. And so she's trying to make sure that the one doesn't overtake the time that God takes. And I think that's like the best idea, which might help you balance some of your TV watching out.
I have to watch out for that. It is
Yeah.
so easy for me to find a cute show on Netflix and just be like, "Ooh, this is great!" It automatically replay, goes on to the next one, and it's fun. And it is good to also have fun.
Oh,
it's
sure.
good to
Yeah.
relax, absolutely. But then I also need to be very intentional with what am I grounded in.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Good one. Well, I think for us, the message was fun. We actually did it as a family, and so I would encourage you, if you can, have your whole family get together and watch that. It was fun to worship a cappella, and we actually, I think we did actually pretty well.
I'd like to
I'm
hear
not
that.
going to videotape that, but it went really well.
We want that next week.
Anyway, but it was fun, and I think for us, pointing people to Jesus. I mean, I think we have such an opportunity
Yes.
right now. I mean,
Yeah.
so my kids, I have 3 teenage boys, and so they all have phones. They can definitely, speak to people, and so we all know that there's ways for us to be very intentional. And then I think the other thing that was fun is just being troublemakers. That kind of was a fun little,
Yes.
thing to talk about with teenagers, and being troublemakers in a good way. So one of the things that we've started learning, similar to Karen, my kids, all of a sudden now with distant learning is kind of having to figure out how that looks like now that they're not going away to school, but they're at school at home, and they're still technically on spring break. So we'll figure that next week. But so in the meantime, just kind of coming up with some, schedules, basically loose blocks of time. And so I was telling Tammy, one of our blocks of time now is forced family fun.
I like that. Say that
because
again.
It's forced family fun.
Forced
That's
family
awesome.
fun.
And again, it might only work with teenage boys, but
does, yeah.
so it's just a fun. You have to be intentional with this time. I really do believe that, as we all really we are slowing down, but we can so easily get isolated, just even with our families. So just forcing everyone to come together at mealtime, talk to one another, and so that's just my encouragement.
I love it. You will have fun, dang it. I mean, we are going to have fun. I don't care what you're
Small
doing.
through it.
That's right. All right, Miss Dawn.
So one of the takeaways for me as I listened to Don's message when he talked about the troublemakers and taking ground from the enemy of from the kingdom of darkness for God's kingdom, that the troublemaker, who is the enemy, often tries to steal ground from us in our minds.
Yeah.
And the encouragement and the takeaway for me is just to be mindful of the self-talk, because the enemy can use our self-talk to try and gain ground in our lives. And at a time like this, where like Karen and Sharon, you both shared about the shifts in your home as moms, it's so easy for the self-talk of guilt and, oh no, and I didn't buy enough toilet paper, or do I have enough hand sanitizer? Did I teach them how to wash their hands properly? Am I going to be able to really handle school with them? Oh, I lost my temper today. And it can just be an onslaught, especially for moms, of a lot of guilt, but women in general too.
Yeah.
Maybe now you're caretaking older parents and you're feeling guilty that sometimes your patients might wear thin if
Right.
you have a parent who has dementia, or just the different things. I feel like the enemy uses that narrative of guilt to intrude all the time. And so we have to be troublemakers there too. Troublemakers to the kingdom of darkness, and gain that ground in our minds by, I think one helpful thing is gratitude, that when that narrative, that tape recorder of the negativity is playing, that we go to gratitude. You know what, Lord, thank you. Thank you, you've given me the mind of Christ. Thank you that I am yours. Thank you that you really are going to help me through this. Thank you that you're sovereign over what's happening. So the gratitude, and then also prayerfulness. Don talked at the gathering about praying the word, and just really being conscientious to pray, that when that negative self-talk, when you catch yourself talking negatively or talking down to yourself, to really just go, no, I'm going to have a conversation with the Lord instead, a prayerful conversation. And so those are some of my takeaways.
I love it. I love that. Well, I'm going to end just with what I took away from it, but thank you, ladies, because honestly, we want to be able to connect verbally and visually with you. We want you to do that with others, which is why we want you to join a message-based group, because text is so good and emails are like, we're all over them. So whatever that is. But when you can visually connect with someone and verbally connect with someone, that's everything right now. So we're just praying that you get connected into a group, or stay tuned with us, or whatever you want to do that fills your soul. But my takeaway is the verbal piece, that I'm just doing a lot more phone calling, because you get to hear the voice. If you can do FaceTime, that's even better, because you can kind of see how someone's doing. That's why Skype is going to be important, because when you look into your group's face, you can be able to ask even better questions. So staying verbally connected and less email, I think is actually better. And that's helped me to hear people's voice. Just lets me know how they're doing. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is that when Don was sharing how Paul and all the people that went with him on this missionary journey took over 2,000-mile trip in, I think,
That's a lot.
2 years. That's a
That's
lot of steps. If you're trying to get
ground to
10,000
cover.
steps in, try to get 2,000 plus miles in. But anyways, I digress. So the point is that when I was thinking about this, I thought, wow, they really were committed. And the verse that popped up in my mind was Romans 12:1, and God's been having me literally ponder this for about 6 months now, and that is, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercy of God, or sistern, I beseech you therefore, sisters, by the mercy of God, that you present your body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And I feel like when I heard about that journey that they took, that took so long and took such commitment, that they were living sacrifices for the kingdom. And then I thought, but how does that apply to me? And how does that apply to the women that I work with and all of us? And I feel like we're on a journey now that we don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know how long it will take. I don't know what tomorrow even looks like. We will make plans, and literally in 2 hours they will change because something else has changed. So we're on a journey that we don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know where it's going to lead. We don't know what the outcomes are going to be. And so I believe God is saying, I'm with you every step of the way. I am on this journey with you, and I am in control of the outcomes. I will be what you need so that you can parent, so that you can spouse well, so that you can friend well, so that you can say to yourself the truth, like we were talking about. And then even for those of us that, if it's not about the virus time, I think many women are on journeys that have taken years. I mean, years. Like as long as it would take to walk 2,000 miles, to go through something hard, to go through something difficult. And maybe it's with a child or in your marriage or with your finances. And I am encouraged that God says, Tammy, no matter how long this takes, I want you to be committed, and I want you to present yourself a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable. And what that means is just set apart. Like you step up in the morning and you go, okay, I have no idea what this day is going to look like, but God, you do. And I'm committed to take the next steps with you, no matter how long that takes. to get me to victory, to get me to wholeness, to get me to healing, or just to get over it. That's all different for each of us, what we're going through. So our prayer for you is to take your next step with the Lord and to not be isolated. And we just want to say a prayer over you before we go, and blessings to you as you're in a time that we may never live again, hopefully, but we are in it now, and we just want to come to the Lord about that. So God, we just thank you for time together. We thank you that you are God, and you are not surprised. You are not freaked out. You are not empty in your pockets for what's going to happen to us financially. You are provider, and you are king, and you are able to take us through. So for ladies now that might be depressed or discouraged or anxious or fearful or over it, whatever it is, Lord, would you come in and soften their heart? Would they lean into you maybe through music, or putting themselves in a timeout with just you, or speaking the truth, or praying your word, or whatever that looks like for them? We pray that they would just take a moment and do that with you throughout the day so they can stay on the path that you have for them. Lord, we love you, and we trust you with our lives. We trust you with our kids. We trust you with our finances that right now for some can be so very scary. We ask for miracle provision for them, that they see you in something that seems impossible. So God, we love you, and we are so thankful to be a people and a church that's following hard after you, so that you can do a deeper work in us as we are in more isolation, that you can use this time for good and not for evil. And we just trust you with that. In your precious name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, ladies. So we'll see you next Tuesday,
Yes.
hopefully,
good.
unless
Amen.
we're in our homes. And we look forward to seeing you then. So check us out, and make sure they have to go online to register for a group,
Yes.
watch the church service, and then get in a group, and then you guys can stay connected. All right. Thanks. Bye.